they used to be. No. Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. No. Oil wasted on the ocean and upon our seas, fish full of mercury. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. No. Radiation underground and in the sky. Animals and birds who live nearby die. Mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. What about this overcrowded land? How much more abuse from men can't you stand?
Source Nation. Join us now for The Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swygert, a platform that encourages the 4 Ds of philosophy: discussion, discourse, dialogue, and debate. Prepare to travel from the past, present, and have discussions of future implications and projections with a correlation to African Americans. These topics are intended to grab your attention, cause contemplation, and encourage some form of action. From the world to the White House to the hood and everything good, the pendulum is swinging your way. Source Nation, here is your host, Dr. Samori Swygert.
Yes, Source Nation. How is everybody doing today? Very glad to be back in the saddle. And unfortunately, it seems all too often that when it comes to my show, The Pendulum, every Wednesday, we're having to take a little bit of time to kind of give a moment of silence or acknowledge global and national tragedies. You know, those that are locked in every Wednesday at 8 p.m., it was a while back when I said, you know, we have to take some time to think about and remember the victims and communities affected by Hurricane Harvey. And then it was the week after that, I said we have to take some time to give some recognition and thoughts for the victims in Hurricane Irma that affected Florida. Then we had what happened. There was a earthquake in Mexico. Then we had what happened, the devastation in Puerto Rico now. And now, sadly, unfortunately, once again, we have to extend our hearts, minds, and humanity to two other countless tragedies, and that's the victims and families affected by the Las Vegas shooting. Tremendous. And at the same time, we can't forget about what's happening with the California wildfires. And so these are the times when we have cognizant and mindful of not just ourselves, but, our fellow brethren and sisters. So with that said, I want to welcome you to The Pendulum. I'm your host, Dr. Samori Swygert, and once again, I'm always here to wish you tremendous blessings with health, family, love, career success, spiritual progress, and the accomplishment of your dreams. Now, Source Nation, like we always do, we get intellectually intimate, and so before we do that, I always encourage you to get your coffee, your wine, your water. If you know how to turn your water to wine, you can go ahead and do that, and I'll always encourage you to what? Pass me my shoehorn so I can put my foot all up in the issues of the day. Make sure you share links with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms. I'm your host, Dr. Samori Swygert, a.k.a. Doc Swag. I want to welcome you to The Pendulum. Now, a pendulum is an apparatus that people associate with a clock. It gauges time and space, and it traverses through time in a constant backward and forward motion. Some will say retrograde to anterograde. And this is what we do through the show, because we're always connecting the dots of the past, present, and future. Now, this show is designed to encourage the 4 Ds, debate, dialogue, discussion, and discourse. Now, make sure you gather your friends and family as we prepare to travel from the past to present and have discussions of future implications and projections with a correlation to African Americans. From the world to the White House to the hood and everything good, the pendulum is swinging your way. Now, Source Nation, today we're going to have a special guest on. I had the show producer cue up Marvin Gaye's Ecology specifically, because this is what we're talking about today. The media is chock full of stories that should not be ignored in its truest form. But sometimes what happens is, in this cycle of breaking news and getting the hottest topics, and if it bleeds, it leads, a lot of important issues that need to be placed as a priority sometimes gets swept under the rug, it gets forgotten, it gets ignored. One of those things that to me mean a lot is the water crisis that happened in Flint, Michigan. I believe it started back in 2014. You can correct me if I'm wrong or not. But I believe it started back in 2014 where it really started getting some notoriety and where they switched water sources. And I believe the city of Flint, Michigan, started getting Flint River water, which was contaminated with lead and a lot of other bacteria. And so with that, families were tremendously impacted. So, there was the blame game, there was a lot of finger pointing, it was the issues of accountability and responsibility. Media was involved. It was a big, we had researchers come in that presented data that substantiated their findings. You had a whole issue with city management. They had town hall meetings. And in the middle of it all, the crosshairs of it all, was humanity. How's the habitat affected? Environment, ecology, the welfare of the citizens of Flint, the health and physiology. How is this impacting the neighborhoods and communities and the viability of these communities? And so I said, you know what, let's reach out, because I'm not hearing enough information, and I don't think a lot of people are getting enough information about what's really going on. Is this being solved? Is it still runs the mill? Or is it actually good strides being made that we need to be made aware of? So I have a young lady that's doing big things, very proud of her. She's from my alma mater, Hampton University, so very happy to have her. Her name is Erin K, and so she'll be on after our break. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be back in the saddle with Erin K, and she's going to hold court and let us know what's going on. So before we go, just got to give you my shout-out to our sponsors because they make all of this possible. And so our sponsors are Zuliana Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Film Productions, Revolution Mills, Renovations, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Juice Bar Boutique, Urban Grandstand Digital, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. All right, we'll take a quick break, have another entertaining track for you that's kind of, it relates to the topic of the night, and we'll be back with Erin K. Peace.
Source Nation, stay tuned. You're listening live to The Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swygert.
Source Radio Network is just one of the many platforms that is used to fulfill dreams of our listeners and create a purpose that will impact the lives of our communities, cities, and the world. It is often said that great things will happen when a group of driven people work together to accomplish one goal. We're giving people the opportunity to have a voice, translate words that haven't been heard, and paint pictures that no one has seen. Source Radio Network is fueling your life's purpose. How can you listen? www.blogtalkradio.com/Source Radio.
Hey you, do you know your history? Do you know your culture? We have a beautiful history full of triumph, determination, perseverance, love, hope, faith, family, and community. And as your great griot, I want to share that history with you. A griot? It's pronounced griot, or in English, a griot. It's a West African term for the person who keeps up with the genealogy, the history, the culture, shares the stories of the people, and so much more. We're like a walking library, full of knowledge and ready to share. I'm going to take you into the history and the culture of your people from all over the world. A griot's purpose is to serve the people. That's right. As the great griot, I am here to serve you. Because the more you know, the more you grow. Wait, that's not my quote. Oh well, it's the truth.
The Great Griot, a brand new Black History web series. Check us out online at www.thegreatgriot.com or subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/thegreatgriot.
There's nothing more refreshing than having a clear, crisp, clean glass of water on a warm summer's day. That cool, refreshing drink. Try it with your friends. New World Water makes the tide rise high. Come inland and make your house go by. Fools done upset the old man river. Made him carry slave ships and fed him dead niggas. Now his belly full and he about to flood something. So I'm throwing a rope that ain't tied to nothing. Tell your crew use the H2 and wise amounts. It's the New World Water and every drop counts. You can laugh and take it as a joke if you wanna, but it don't rain a full week some summers. And it's about to get real wild in the half. You be buying every yard just to take a fucking bath. Heads is acting wild, sipping broom, pumping dank. Competing with the next man for higher playing rank. Then I ain't got time try to be Big Hank. Fuck a bank, I need a 20-year water tank. Cause while these knuckleheads is out here sweating they goods, sun is sitting in the treetops, burning the woods. And as the flame from the blaze get higher and higher, they say don't drink the water, we need it for the fire. New York is drinking it, and all of California is drinking it. Way up north and down south is drinking it. Used to have minerals and zinc in it. Now they say it got lead and stink in it. Fluorocarbons and monoxide. Push the water table lopside. Used to be free, now of course you will fee. Cause all things for they load as they roll across the sea. Man, you gotta cook with it, bathe and clean with it. That's right. When it's hot summertime, you fiend for it. You gotta put it in the iron you steaming with. That's what they dress wounds and treat diseases with. The rich and poor, black and white got need for it. And everybody in the world can agree with that. Consumption promotes health and easiness. Go too long without it on this earth and you leaving it. Americans wasting it on some leisure shit. Another nation be desperately seeking it. Bacteria washing up on their beaches. Don't drink the water so they can't wash their feet with it. Young babies in perpetual need these days. Epidemics hopping up the petri dish. Control centers try to play all secret to avoid public panic and freakiness. There are places where TB is common as TB, cause foreign-based companies go and get greedy. The type of cats who pollute the whole shoreline, have it purified and sell it for $1.25. Now the world is drinking it. Your mom's wife and baby girl is drinking it. Up north and down south is drinking it. You just have to go to your sink for it. The cash register is going to chink for it. Carbon monoxide got the fish looking cockeyed. Used to be free, now of course you a fee, cause it's all about getting that cash money. Said 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 it's all about getting your cash money. Said it's all about getting that cash money. Said it's all about getting that cash money. Said it's all about getting that cash money. Yeah, it's all about getting that cash money. Said it's all about getting that cash money. Johnny cash money. Roseanne cash money. Give me cash money. Cold cash money. Johnny cash money. Roseanne cash money. Give me cash money. Yeah, cash money. Cash rule everything around me. Move.
Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live to The Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swygert.
Source Nation, welcome back to The Pendulum. I'm your host, Dr. Samori Swygert. As I was saying earlier, I have a guest this evening. We're going to be talking about what's happening with Flint. I had to play that Most Def New World Water because it's so, if you take time to listen to the words, so appropriate, so appropriate. But we're going to have Erin Coney on. Erin, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. I am wonderful. How are you, Dr. Swygert?
I'm doing well. Now, listen, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, you know, who you are, and you know, just let's fill you out.
Oh, yes, of course. So I am a Flint native, a proud Flint native at that, and I am currently a Doctor of Pharmacy 2020 candidate for Hampton University School of Pharmacy. So currently in my program right now. Yes, HU, yes.
Right. Okay, good. Well, listen, why don't you, let's just start off like this. Why don't, for those, because, I'm born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, why don't you tell people a little bit about what Flint was like or is like, just give people a little taste of what Flint is, the soul of Flint, at least from your perspective.
Oh, yeah, of course. So Flint is a very thriving city, contrary to popular belief. We know that General Motors was the place to be, to work at. It was very thriving. A lot of the cars that came out of General Motors are, very good. It's been had an influential effect on the country as a whole. And just to give a little bit of what's going on right now in Flint, they've actually done a lot of renovations with downtown Flint. And this fall, actually, the Capitol Theater, if anyone's ever heard of it, is actually going to reopen. So it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time. There's a lot that's going on, a lot of beautification, as I like to say, that's going on with Flint and just downtown Flint and the city as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, I had to reach out to you, and I was trying to like, we have to get some updates because it seemed like, whenever I turn on the news, whether it's MSNBC, CNN, Fox, there's always something that's happening, and it's kind of like Flint just kind of like disappeared in the woods, and I'm like, man, what's actually happening? Because I remember they was getting a whole bunch of coverage, and I'm like, well, what's actually happening with the citizens of Flint right now? And I know there was some hearings with I don't know the specific offices, but I guess it was some type of city officials and management and waterworks probably. But I was like, I had to reach out and just get something that's direct, that has a connection there. So that's how I reached out to you. So
yes, and again, thank you so much for reaching out to me. Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Now you still have family and friends in Flint now, right?
Correct.
Okay. Good. All right, so I just kind of want to go through some questions just so you can kind of inform people about, as far as what you know and what your family and friends, inform you about. So I just kind of want to ask you this question, like, what are some of the humane issues that the Flint residents, what they were struggling with due to the lack of access of clean water, because they did that whole switcheroo with the water source?
Yes, the unfortunate, tragic events that have transpired after that. You as a clinical pharmacist, I'm sure it probably makes your blood boil in a sense because, you're a healthcare provider. I know you want to help people of Flint. And, although we do know that children can be affected more readily than adults, there is still experience they can experience long-term effects just from a little bit of lead poisoning. Adults, they don't experience it readily, but even just a little bit can still cause tremor of their hands or decreased kidney function and even increase in blood pressure. So it's very prevalent in the adult population as well that people have been affected by this. And one of the most recent events that has happened is the Legionnaire's disease, and piggybacking off of what you were just talking about as far as people being tried with this involuntary manslaughter. An 85-year-old man has contracted this Legionnaire disease and passed, Robert Skidmore. It's been unfortunate, yes. And currently right now, 2 of the most high-ranking health officials are being tried. They're the first to be tried within this situation. There's 15 that have been brought to light, but these 2 are actually going through it. So, and their names are Dr. Eden Wells and Nick Lyon. So they are currently under this scrutiny, and I know that justice will be served. So that's what's happening. The Legionnaire's disease is a atypical pneumonia for anyone that doesn't know.
Right. All right, good. Yeah, that's important. A lot of people, some of the misconceptions that a lot of people were thinking of was like, well, I'll just boil my water, and it's like, that's boiling your water is only used to kill microbes that actually don't have those spores. So that is just for like, your bacteria and things like that. But that doesn't have anything to do with removing lead from the water supply. And that, that lead is very devastating, very devastating. We'll talk about that a little later. So let me ask you this. As far as you know from maybe what you've been following or what you've heard and what your family and friends have been talking about, what has the local government been doing to help the citizens, maintain a clean, a sterile, and a steady, persistent water supply so they can take care of their day-to-day activities and necessities?
Well, there are currently 4 pods that are open. And when I say pods, that means water stations. So they refer to them as pods. There were actually 9 originally, but they downsized to 4 throughout the city of Flint. One of the reasons is because they were providing the water filters for people to install and also the cases of water. So, these people can actually get their water tested and get a testing kit and send it in to these water stations so that they can get the results back. And actually, March 28th of 2017, there was a $97 million settlement that was approved by a judge to get the pipes replaced, which is good. Finally, we're making some progress.
Good.
Right now, there's actually 4,700 that are currently completed. So by 2020, which is actually my graduation date, I'm praying this will actually happen, 20,000 Flint households will be rectified by then with their pipes. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. But I was also going to mention that people with disabilities or a lack of transportation can also get their water supply from people. There's actually 250 individuals that work for the GST Michigan Works to provide these people with the water, the actual cases of water. So people that work at the pods can give them the water if they can't go and get it themselves. And unfortunately, since this has happened, it's unfortunate that these people have to work for this situation. However, it's a positive because they're able to be employed. So these 250 individuals have willingly been able to help people around Flint, and that's what's going on right now. So our government and people in the community are helping out.
You know, that's kind of what I want to hear. I had no idea about. You said it was 97 million.
Yes, 97 million settlement.
Wow, that's good. See, and once again, this is what I wanted people to hear. I didn't even know that. So that's good. A $97 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course they may need more, but like I said, it is a step in the right direction to rectify the wrong. So that's excellent. Excellent. And you also said they're getting, you said, is it 20,000 piping installments that they've kind of completed, or what was that? You said 20,000? Or
by 2020, their goal is to hit 20,000 Flint households to fix the piping system. So we're currently right now, I was saying that 4,700 households have been completed.
That's excellent.
I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, and that's very important. Glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. Yeah, this is an important conversation right here. Okay.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Now, one thing that I've heard was that a lot of media outlets were saying that Flint residents were still being required to pay water bills. Do you know if that's true or what? Because, I mean, to me, it would seem like, listen, as a citizen of Flint, if I'm not the one at fault for this lead that, you know, is circulating through the pipes and inundating household drinking water and bathing water and maybe even hospitals and restaurants, all that, you know, whoever's supposed to be getting this water, if I didn't do it, I shouldn't be forced to pay these bills for anything that I can't even utilize, more or less even toxic that can harm me. Because I know one of the articles I was reading, they were saying that I believe General Motors was once getting some of that water, and it was actually corroding some of the vehicles. So if it's corroding the vehicles, I shouldn't even be forced to pay a bill for something that will permanently impair and damage. So what do you know about that? Are Flint citizens being forced to pay bills that they, you know, this water?
Yes, unfortunately, everyone is still paying for their water bill, and that was actually interesting. You mentioned that Melissa Mays is actually one person, which I'm sure some people have heard of, that was, you know, making do with still living in her household while still having to pay for her bill. So she actually, it was a foreclosure situation. But I wanted to say, yeah, it's unfortunate. I wanted to actually ask you, so let me just hear from you. What do you think a water bill would cost for 1 month in Flint, Michigan? I want to hear from you, Dr. Swygert. Give me a number.
What, like prior to, like just a regular bill prior to all of this with the...
Just right now, like how much do you think... Yeah, just right now, how much do you think people are currently paying for 1 month's rent in Flint, Michigan for the water bill?
Water bill, I would say a range, probably, like 30 maybe?
You want to guess again? Give me another number. It's above that.
Let's go. All right, so I will go to like 55. We're just talking water.
Yeah, just water. And that is not even close. Actually,
all right,
for
so
1
now
month
I'm going to take...
Go ahead.
You talking about rent included or just water? Just water.
Just water within the rent. Just water.
Yeah. So what I would go like, you know, maybe 50. But if you say it's more than that, I'm getting nervous.
I know. That's why I wanted to make this point so people hear this. So 1 month's water bill is $162 for 1 month in Flint, Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I know, and that's actually the amount that my family is paying within our household right now. So the point I wanted to make is, we're paying 1 month water bill of $162, while surrounding suburban cities are paying $162 for 3 months. Not 1 month, but 3 months. They get to pay it for 3 months. So you can see the injustice in that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Right.
Well, 100%. Yeah, I think, now see, that seems like it should be something that, and I don't know, like I said, I'm talking to you in real time, so I'm just going off the top of my head. I don't know if there's any type of policies in place to substantiate what I'm going to say, but to me it seems like when it comes around to this tax season, it comes to filing taxes, there should be something in Michigan state tax where they say, look, are you a citizen of Flint? Have you been infected? Not infected, well, you could say infected, but impacted by the Flint water crisis, and people should be able to put down the total that they've spent on their bills and need to have that deducted from the taxes that they're paying, because that they do that for a lot of other different things. Like when you do your income taxes, they should have something inside Michigan State taxes for this, because that's unjust. It's not right, and it needs to be rectified. That's wrong.
Right. And actually, you bringing all of that up, Judge Val Washington is actually he's a judge in Flint, Michigan. He's actually trying to get it rectified where people don't have to pay this skyrocketing amount for their water bill. So hopefully that will be put into place soon, because it's unbelievable, the amount.
Yeah, I think people should even get reimbursed. Like once this is all rectified and everything is reconciled and repairs are done, I believe that people that have paid extra money during this time, when you've paid not even market rate, more than market rate for your water bills, you need to be reimbursed for this. And you can't even use that water. They should definitely be reimbursed.
Right. So hopefully, someone listening out there, has heard what you said. I hope someone's listening out there to get this rectified, because people shouldn't be paying for this. And hopefully some policy can be put in place where people can get reimbursed, or, because there is a lot of money that is coming into Flint. So I feel like that could be utilized. Whatever we're getting could be utilized to help people in some way, some monetary, just in general. So.
Erin, thinking about what you just said just now, just as you said this, it makes me think, as they have, because I know Detroit, Detroit's getting, as you talk about this beautification, you have new businesses and corporations that are coming in, opening new establishments and firms and companies. They should make it where, so listen, we accept your business, we welcome your business and appreciate it. What we would like for you to do is, if you would like to earn and generate revenue from our citizens patronizing your businesses and services, we will hope that you contribute X amount of dollars for this, for the maintenance of this city, because I think that should be something they should work into a package for incoming businesses.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's go on to another question I want to ask you. So this is where we were talking about earlier. What are your thoughts on the long-term implications and the consequences of the lead infestation of Flint's water infrastructure? Like in children, lead poisoning can manifest as ADHD.
Right.
And so typically, when kids are diagnosed with ADHD and other mood or, I don't want to say psychiatric, but like mood disorders and things of that nature, they'll place them on these medications and, to kind of deal with the condition that they have. Now, the thing is, if lead poisoning manifests like this, there are going to be generations of kids and babies that will have these issues. They may be prescribed these medications because parents may not necessarily be aware of how this manifests physiologically, how it looks, or that they actually just may need some of these medications and other pharmaceutical treatments to kind of deal with the neurogenic and neurological effects from the toxicity of this lead. With that, and then also, I think you and I were talking a little bit the other day about the impact of the fertility of the women and the fetal death rate. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on this and, you know, what you may have heard or read about.
Oh, yeah. So the fetal death rate is actually at 58% right now. And in regards to the newborns and infants, we have to take into consideration that their bodies do have more water than regular children, or I should say older children and adults. So just to get a little scientific here, you know, we know that lead can cross the placenta, right? It crosses the placenta and it gets into the fetus. So these newborns and infants are being fed formula that is mixed with this tap water. And for the first 6 months of their life, they're being breastfed by their mothers who may not be getting adequate iron or calcium in their diet. And they're doing this all while taking in this poison lead water, which will lead to all these detrimental effects, unfortunately.
Long-term effects, you know, and the half-life. I have to look at like the half-life of lead. But I know it's extremely long. Probably outlasts most of people's living lives. It's a serious issue to the point that I do believe that the the same way they have landmark settlements with like asbestos or tobacco companies where victims of this exposure, they get these lifelong settlements. I think there's going to have to be something in place. I think they're going to have to set up a registry. It will be for them to set up a registry of these children that were born in Flint during this time and exposed to this lead. They're going to need a registry so that whenever, you know, things come up, whether there's some type of healthcare expense, educational expense, just due to maybe some cognitive impairment that could be correlated or associated with the infestation of lead in these children. Well, you know, we have a registry here, and being that we have this registry, we can accommodate them financially and on a healthcare basis and on an educational basis. So.
Right. And, you know, I'm glad you said that because actually there has been a Flint lead exposure registry put in place. And this is, yes, I'm glad that you actually said this. Dr. Larry Reynolds is one of the doctors that actually worked on, he's a pediatrician, retired, and he actually worked on, you know, exposing these Flint levels along with Dr. Monahan and Tisha. But Dr. Reynolds is one of these people, and he actually, the committee's going to look at the lead exposures between April 25th of 2014, which is the year that it started, to 10/16/15, which is October 16th of 2015. They're going to look at those dates. So this has been put in place, and it's actually very recent. Their first meeting is on October 26th, 2017. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That was meant to be that you mentioned that. So I'm glad they're doing this.
Yes, I'm glad that you brought that up. I see, once again, everybody that's listening, Source Nation, Source Radio listeners, Source Nation family, this is key. This is why we have the 4 Ds I always talk about: debate, dialogue, discussion, and discourse. This is when we have the discussion. Never knew that was going to go down. So that's good. That's good. Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, now you talked about the beautification of Flint. You know, I'm from New York. I've gone back and forth to New York, you know, visiting family and friends, and I've seen it changing. Now, being a resident of Washington, D.C., I've been in Washington, D.C. Since 2003 when I came to Howard to get my doctorate of pharmacy. And I've seen D.C. change tremendously They're undergoing gentrification. Now with that in mind, I know you mentioned something about a lady being foreclosed, but have you heard any stories or any information about masses of Flint citizens having to actually relocate or wanting to relocate because of this whole thing with the water and the pipes and all of that? Do you have any knowledge of that you can share?
Yes. Well, actually, I will say that I want to say this first, that there are many thriving individuals who have actually stayed in Flint, Michigan, because of the impact and contribution that they make within the community as a whole. However, there are a number of people who have moved because of the city government. The city government has the revenues, which includes revenue sharing from the state and being short-staffed, and also schools are segregated by race and income. And when you have the foreclosures, like what we talked about, and declining housing stock that's being seen. And a huge cause of people moving is due to the water bills that are skyrocketing. So these people living in Flint have to make this decision, but the water bills in Flint are just some of the highest rates in the nation. But I will say that, there are some people that just don't have the choice to, so they have to stay there regardless, unfortunately, because of their situation. But I do want to speak to the beautification or gentrification. I like to use the term beautification because it's some people have a negative connotation with gentrification because of where they've grown up. Things change around them. They don't like it. But this is a good change. So they have actually put in place a $36.8 million project for the renovation of the Flint riverfront. And the goal is to make the river safer and more accessible to people, which will allow people to fish, get in their boats, and have a picnic. There's going to be a picnic pavilion, and they're also going to put a cafe or a shop there. And it's also going to be very vegetated. It'll be a vegetated terrace with a walking bridge that will span between Swartz Creek and the Flint River. So it's a lot going on. And actually the organizations that put this in place are the Flint River Corridor Alliance and the Flint Watershed Coalition, and as well as local thriving universities like Kettering University, which is an engineering university, and the city as a whole, the Flint city as a whole, has kind of helped with this beautification process, which will ultimately lead new people in and also help other people have a better state of mind of living in Flint and stay there as it grows back up.
To that, I will say this. For those people that are into investing, now, I'm not a financial advisor, so you take what I say with a grain of salt, but that sounds like people that have money, excess money, and looking for things to invest in. It seems like municipal bonds might be something you all, if you're listening and you're into investing and you have excess money and looking to invest, it seems like municipal bonds in Flint may be something you want to look into because it looks like they're pouring a lot of money into this. So that's, okay, very interesting, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to make the Flint River ultimately more accessible and safer for people to be around it. It'll put a whole new perspective into people's minds about what Flint's about and lead the negative connotations away from the water in Flint, So it's going to be really nice.
Now, let me ask you this question. I'm going to ask you a personal question. If I was to come down, when they finish this beautification project, let's say 2020, if I was to come up to Flint and I get my fishing pole and I catch me some trout or something out, and I cook it up, are you going to eat it? Are you going to eat some?
Oh, I would definitely eat it. Of course I would.
You would?
Of course I would try to make sure that everything is safe, but I believe, I have a strong feeling that by 2020 the water will be okay. I think it's going to be okay. So I would try it. I would try it. It's my city, so if you come up and cook something up, I'll take a bite.
Well, just make sure that they get some environmentalists to make sure they run their checks and make sure everything is tip top and pristine. So,
yes, make sure that they have everything in order.
That's right. That's right. Well, let me ask you this question now. From, like I said, from your connections back home and being native, what do you think, or what have you heard, and what do you feel the citizens of Flint, Michigan would want the rest of the nation to know? Because, like I said, we're not hearing any status updates about what's happening in Flint. So if, people are listening, what do you think they will want, the citizens of Flint will want people to know?
Well, actually, I actually have a couple of close friends that I've recently spoken to. First of all, I want to talk about Adrian Walker. So Adrian Walker, he's a senior manager at the Diplomat Pharmacy, which is a specialty pharmacy in Flint, Michigan, for people that don't know. It's the hub in the hub, and then it has other places throughout the country for Diplomat. But he's a senior manager in government affairs and of corporate relations. So he was telling me that he's actually like me. He went away from Flint, and he actually decided to come back and work there, and he's doing very well. So he wanted people to know that they are actually working on and supporting the long-term initiative that we talked about before that addresses the needs from 0 to 6. And they're working on this development fund with a pipe replacement. And he wants to know, he wants people to know, how can we rebrand the city? How can we get other people to give their input into what we can do in order to make this long-term initiative successful? And, there's a tremendous amount. There's a $100 million amount that they have actually gotten. The government has also gotten in order to put this in place. Adrian said, we are a blue collar city, and this is in our DNA. Flint is a blue collar city. So, if you're a young person out here listening, even the older people too, but if you're young specifically and you have a sense of community and a creative narrative, please come to Flint and give us your help and give us your perspective, because we do need younger people to come into Flint and uplift people that are being affected by it. So that's something that Adrian Walker wanted everyone to hear and to take in and digest. And the other person I wanted to mention too, I have another good friend, her name's Sierra Haney. We went to school together in Flint, and she actually brought up something interesting. This is going back to the cases of water. We have water bottles that have BPA, or in other words, bisphenol A is what the correct term is, that degrades into the water when these cases are sitting outside. Because some people, might not have a garage, or they might not be able to keep it in a room temperature safe area. So she was saying, how can we, make sure that these, we have this chemical too, the BPA, that could be getting into the water that could also be affecting people. So she just wants people to know that although we have this help, we just need to be on the ball and just think ahead, just to ensure things are going to be safe for people. But she was saying also that, we have a Flint Farmers Market that's in downtown Flint, but it's hard for people to travel to the outskirts of Flint to get groceries. So we need people to kind of help with that, and she was saying Flint doesn't need a publicity stunt, but we just need a contribution to the cause. So she feels like this city is being ignored, and, we just need to stay proactive with everything. And, even though the national attention is being reduced by, the mass shootings, the hurricanes, everything, which is unfortunate, there's still a lot more that can be done in the city of Flint. So we need to keep our eyes on Flint and also other communities too that are going through this. So.
Yes. Excellent. Good. Very good. Now, has there, I kind of lost track. Has anybody been, I know you mentioned somebody, I forget the name, and I remember there was an article, but the governor and the mayor, and has anybody really been held accountable, or was it just like this was just the blame is just kind of, let's just forget about the blame and let's just fix it? Is anybody facing any criminal charges or punishment? Or?
Yes, they are, and thank goodness. But actually, I want to address, though, that the current mayor, Karen Weaver, was not under situation with the lead poisoning. So I don't want anyone to think that she has something to do with this. But there are people that have been indicted that are going to be going under their trials. And like I said earlier in our talk, well, right now there are 15 state and city officials that have been charged. And out of the 15, Dr. Eden Wells and the other one, Nick Lyon, have been under trials right now. They're going under the trial. So this is actually coming to light now. And it's really unfortunate, though, that these two high-ranking officials are still working beside the governor of Michigan. So it's mind-blowing to me that they will allow this to happen and just let them still serve. So hopefully, hopefully the trials will go quickly and this justice will be served, because, I hope people are thinking, after when this is over, they don't allow them to stay in their positions, because what is that saying? That they're doing their job while they're doing the wrong, or doing it in the dark, I should say. They shouldn't be under him right now, but they're still getting their paid. They're still getting everything. Nothing has been done yet. So they're going through these trials, and hopefully it'll be rectified soon. It's crazy.
Yes, it's extremely crazy. Wow. Okay, well, we're approaching our hour. But, one thing I always like to do is, whenever I have a guest on the show, I like for them to, give a little plug for themselves. So, if you have a business or, anything that you may be doing that you may want people to know, if there's a website, or you want people to reach you, your social media, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or if you have a website for a business that you do, or just want to promote something, Erin, the table is open to you right now.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I'm serving still as a student on the way to getting my doctorate degree, but I do have a creative side. So I am currently a photographer on the side, and I ultimately want to do something within my career that will combine the two, journalism and the sciences. So I'm excited about that. And if you do want to follow me, my Instagram is at Erin, ERIN, Chris, KRISC, like the letter C. So you can follow me on there. And I did want to just circle back to the children really quickly, just because they're going to be the future of our city. All I wanted to say was that I'm not going to be long, but we do know that their IQ is something that we look at, right? So that's probably like one of the measures that people think about using. However, we need to be asking the question, while there's people there's children that are over here on the left side that are not doing well. There's people over here on the right side that are. There's too many children in the education system that are not thriving. So we need to ask the question, why is this happening? So I just encourage everybody, there's certain neighborhoods that are higher income, that are maybe predominantly white, that are getting better services, while there's children that are living in another neighborhood that are people of color that have lower income and not doing well. So we just need to address this, that, I believe that there is segregation and there is a racism. Obviously, this situation, why this happened, is because of this. So I just encourage people to kind of just really look out for everyone, the children, because they're going to be the future of Flint. And I also wanted to mention that the Links Incorporated and other affiliations have actually provided playgrounds for children, and they're actually they're concerned about children's health and well-being. And while we can't totally fix everything right now, their strength and their health is most important. So I just wanted to mention that we just need to focus on getting everyone healthy again. And also, if anyone wants to donate, the Community Foundation for Greater Flint is here. And like I said, the National Links Group is also in place. So if anyone wants to donate, please do that.
Say that one more time so people know, just in case they missed that. What's the
Oh, yes.
organization
So
that taking?
it's the Community Foundation for Greater Flint, where Isaiah Oliver, he's the president of the Community Foundation of Greater Flint. You can donate there, and you can donate to the Links Group, the National Links Group. They are very diligent in helping children and the city as a whole.
Okay. Now, you said you do photography. Do you have a website or anything, or is this just what you're doing kind of like in the Hampton Roads area? Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do have one. It's a little bit of a long, it's actually on the flyer. It's a little bit of a long in the search bar, but I do it mainly for students, that are graduating, pretty much anyone that wants their photos taken. So if you are in the Hampton area or, Washington, D.C., we can hook up if you want your pictures taken. So I enjoy doing that. But if you do want to know, it's www.erinconeyphotography. And I'm going to give you the full one in case anyone is listening right now. But like I said, it's on the flyer if anyone wants to look it up.
Okay. Definitely. Well, Erin, I want to say thank you. That's coming from me as a fellow Tonian and alum. I'm very happy to see you making these strides, being very serious about your career and education, and even just listening to you right now, just being aware of the communities. So, kudos to you. I encourage you to continue being diligent about that and being diligent about your education, and definitely wish you much success in your career endeavors. So I hope to see you at the top in years to come. We would like to just say a big thank you to you. Thank you for your parents for creating somebody like you. And Source Radio Network maybe in the future we'll have you back on.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swygert. I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to also thank my friend Imani Thomas, who also goes to Hampton. She actually connected me with you. So I appreciate her doing that. So thank you for reaching out to me.
Yes. Shout out to her, too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's show. That was Miss Erin Coney from Flint, Michigan, giving us the information that we need to know. I'm Dr. Samori Swygert, a.k.a. Doc Swag, and I'm going to be signing out. But before I do, I have to thank our sponsors for making everything possible, and that's Zuliana Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Films Productions, Revolution Mills, and Renovation, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Juice Bar Boutique, Urban Grandstand Digital, and New Covenant Praise Worship Center. Now, every Wednesday, 8 p.m., you'll find me here at the Pendulum Source Radio Network. You can hit me on Twitter at DocSwag06, that's DOCSWAGG06. On Facebook, the fan page is 2MASC, 2 Minutes and Some Change, and the Source Radio Network Facebook fan page. Also, lastly, if you like music, if you like poetry, in 2015, I came out with an Amazon's bestseller in the Quiet Storm category. It's called PORN, but it stands for abbreviation. It stands for Poetry, Oration, Rhythm, and Narrative. Probably one of the best albums that you hear if you love Love Jones, the movie, and Love Jones, the soundtrack. It's right there. It's the modern version of it, basically. And it was produced by an all-HBCU band from Hampton, Howard, and Norfolk State. All right? Live instrumentation, and, of course, moi, giving you the vocals. All right? So with that being said, may you have a blessed day. God be with you. And like I said, let's keep in mind of the victims of Hurricane Harvey, Irma, the people that have been affected in Puerto Rico, Las Vegas shooting, California wildfires, even the Caribbeans. Let's not forget about them out there in the Virgin Islands and Barbuda. We have to keep other people in mind other than ourselves. We have to think outside of the box and outside of our circle. So with that being said, I am gone, and I will see you next week, 8 p.m. on the Pendulum. Peace.